Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Savana, and today we are going to speed up a 5-hour long groom on a very hairy husky. Let me introduce you to the 2-year-old rescue husky Mishka. He lives just outside the city with his 2 husky siblings and his human family on an acreage. Now, these clips are taken from March, the very first time I groomed him after his family had got him. And I will mention that I am 23 weeks pregnant in this video. Originally, I was going to show all 3 of their dogs' grooms in one day, but his groom ended up taking 5 hours long because we didn't realize how much packed undercoat was in his fur because he had never been groomed before. Before we actually get into how I groomed him, I want to preface this by saying he got lots of breaks throughout the grooming process that weren't filmed, and also why I spent 5 hours on his groom was to save his coat. Now you'll see in the video that around his neck where his collar sits, he was very matted, and I ended up just shaving that area right down, but I was trying to avoid shaving his entire body. This family previously had a dog that has since passed away. He was such a sweet boy, but he was shaved once by a groomer and it completely ruined his fur. It changed the texture of his fur to almost like Velcro. It was incredibly hard for them to keep up on brushing, and it was also very hard for me to groom. So I really wanted to get out as much undercoat as I could on their new dog so that we don't start that cycle again with him. If you don't know, double coated dogs are not supposed to be shaved. You cannot guarantee how their fur is going to come back. Now, if he absolutely needed to be shaved and I didn't feel like his fur could be salvaged safely and comfortably, then I wouldn't have. That was a very long explanation, but it is very important explaining why I took 5 hours to groom this dog. Okay, so you've already seen me working on him a little bit on the floor of the van. I don't usually do this, but I could tell that his neck was very packed in with undercoat, and I thought this would be the easiest way for me to kind of work on it before I do a bath or anything, and also considering I was pregnant, it just seemed like the most comfortable option. So first I started with a slicker brush. That did not loosen anything up. Then I moved on to a metal grooming rake. It looks like I am gripping him very hard and brushing hard, but I promise that I am not. But as you can see here, that also didn't really take out any of the fur. I could tell that it was very matted and packed in. A last ditch effort before shaving or knowing that I had to shave was I tried my dematting comb. Look how cute his face is here. So right now I'm essentially just trying to break up the matting as much as I can, find a spot where I can get underneath that fur and pull it up so that I can do the least amount of shaving as possible. After using the dematting comb as much as I could, I realized there was just areas that needed to be shaved because they were so tight. Understandably, he really didn't like the clippers, especially right behind his ears. They're loud, they vibrate, it feels funny. So you can see him here kind of pulling away from me, and I decide that this is when he needs to go up on the table. So he resists me at first, does not want to go up on the table, but eventually I lift him. And I have more control of him up here. He's not on the ground anymore in his domain, able to get away from me. Here you can see me using the clippers just to take off the bulk of some fur on his legs, any mats in his bum, etc. There's no point wasting shampoo, water, or even dry time on fur that's just going to come off later on anyways. So I'm going to turn him to the other side and do the exact same thing. He's feeling more comfortable with me and the process laying down, so I'm able to shave out more mats behind his ears. And as you can see, I'm taking out a big one right now, and he gives it a good old sniff. And then just doing the exact same process as I did on the other side, taking off the bulk of the feet, legs, bum, tail, etc. Moving on to his bath, I was a little bit nervous about getting him in, considering I had so much trouble getting him on the grooming table. So here I am hiking up my pants and getting ready to heave-ho him in. So I'm lifting the table as much as I can. I don't have a board or anything for dogs to walk across. Most of them usually just jump into the tub for me, but you can see he's hesitant. He has no idea what's going on here. So I end up just lifting him in, and not as heavy as expected. I stopped grooming large dogs in this pregnancy when I was in my third trimester, so about 28 weeks. So I was still well within that time frame. And as you can see, he's a big boy and he kind of just fits in the tub. What you're watching here is me using my car wash nozzle that I use in place of a bathing system, which I'll have linked down below. It mixes the shampoo and water for me. He's going to get a double shampoo, a conditioner, and then a really good rinse. My favorite shampoos right now are the IGroom shampoos. I'll also link those down below. I buy them through Lynn Professional. I am using the 50:1 high concentrate on him, and also the Deshedding and Detangling conditioner, which I let sit for a while. Moving on to the dryer, I am keeping him in the tub to try to contain some of the mess, and I am using a brush, a dematting comb, a rake, all at the same time as using the dryer to help encourage all of that fur to come on out. I spent the most time on his groom trying to get him dry. He has very thick fur to begin with, and then with having all of that impacted undercoat, it just made it even thicker and the process a lot longer. So I eventually move him to my grooming table to get him 100% dry and work on his trim. On these big hairy dogs that take a lot of dry time, I often dry them in sections because the dryer can heat up the van and sometimes it's hard for my AC to keep up. So I'll dry a leg, turn it off, trim that leg, then dry the other leg, and so on and so forth. So in a second here, you are going to see him get away from me, jump off the table, and I have to wrangle him back on. What a guy. I am now trimming nails and about to trim his legs, feet, bum on this side. This next clip is almost like stop motion, and I just find it so satisfying to see what a leg trim looks like. So enjoy. This clip here shows how all of his legs are now dry and trimmed up, and I am working on getting his body dried now. Working on his tail now, there was areas that could be brushed out, some that had to be shaved, so it was a little bit patchy, but he did still have some tail fur left, which I was very happy about. It was just a lot shorter of a tail. Here I am finishing up shaving any remaining mats from behind his ears and then also drying his head. I save heads for very last because most dogs don't like the feeling of the dryer on their head or the clippers, etc. Okay, so we're about to get into some clips of Mishka's after. Look at this handsome boy. Now I feel like it's not a very dramatic before and after, but if you knew how much undercoat was in him and how much work went into this, you would understand how dramatic it is to me and how dramatic it probably feels to him as well. This next clip is just something that I posted on Instagram showing that in pictures you can't see that I had to shave out some areas behind his ears. And I'm going to let you guys enjoy some before and afters before I get into my closeout. Thank you guys so much for watching until the end of today's video, and if you haven't already, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below as I'm trying my best to upload new videos every single week. Thanks guys, see you next time.